Hi, Tori. Good morning.
Hi, Brianna.
How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for agreeing. I really appreciate it. I know it's a busy morning and I won't take up too much of your time. And these episodes kind of around 30 minutes as well, so that when people
Okay.
do their cooking or walking or whatever they're into, they can listen to us, or if they relate to the content. So I really appreciate your time for joining me this morning.
No problem, thank you.
So Tori, please introduce yourself for the people listening, because I think when somebody introduces themselves, they really say out what they feel for themselves, rather than if I introduce you, I might not
Yeah,
describe it
yeah.
again.
Okay, I'm an artist, abstract artist based in Galway. I'm from Belfast, but Galway's my home now, and this is where my husband and my kids and our life is now. So I work in my studio. I've built a studio in the garden, and it is my haven, my absolute haven. So yeah, my artwork is I suppose I would describe it as really colorful, free, expressive. I absolutely love to paint, and I suppose the aim is that you can kind of sense that in my work. You know, I always want to be trying to put the joy that I feel in my creative process into the paintings, so that in a way that can be transferable to the person who has the artwork in their home. Um, so yeah, so it's a journey, and it's developing all the time, and I kind of it's very much based on intuition and how I feel at the time. So there are ups and downs. And there's not generally a plan, because I'm working in a free intuitive way. So sometimes that can be a bit unpredictable. I can be very productive at times, and at other times it can be stop-starty, depending on what's going on, with the other aspects of my life. But yeah, it's definitely where the joy is for me, Boyana, and I'm so delighted to have got this stage in my life where I'm doing something that I love. So that's a bit about me.
Fantastic. And how did you come to realize that art gave you that joy, or where did the journey, do you remember when
Yeah.
you started, or you realized, oh, I like art, or what was
Yeah.
the...
I think I've always been, I remember being very young in school, and parents or people comment, no, you're very creative, or and I did do, I went down like the arts route in school. So we'd have done languages and art at A level, and then went on to art college in Belfast. And at that stage, I didn't know what discipline or what area of art was my thing, but I kind of got into design in the foundation year. And I was playing around with fashion and textile design. I was always really drawn to tactile things. So it was definitely between fashion and textile design and ceramics, and working with ceramics. So I was really torn between the two, and I nearly specialised in ceramics, and then I didn't at the last minute, and I did fashion and textile design in Dublin and NCAD. But it's funny, because very quickly into my degree, like maybe by the start of the second year, I knew that it wasn't sitting with me. I wasn't totally happy. And I couldn't really picture myself working in the fashion industry. I think that was a problem that I had, or the textile industry, because it's so fast moving, and I became aware at that time how stressful the environment is. And that didn't suit me. I don't like stress. I don't deal well with stress. Some people really come into their own and perform so well in stressful environments. That's not me. I like having time to work through ideas, and yeah, so early on, I kind of got a sense, no, I'm not sure I've made the right decision. But anyway, followed through, did my degree, It went well. I enjoyed college, and art college was amazing. You know, got as much as I could out of the art college experience in Dublin. Lived the life. And then after that, I did work in fashion design. I traveled a bit, went to Australia, New Zealand, and worked for a designer in Sydney. Akira Sagawa is a beautiful designer. But again, I really wasn't feeling happy in the studio environment. And it was quite technical, pattern cutting, and that side of fashion design can be quite technical. And I find it quite, you know, I wanted to be more, I suppose the messy side of me was trying to get out. Anyway, so worked for him, did an internship there, and then I worked for another designer in New Zealand in Wellington.
Wow.
And called Robin Matheson, and she was a lovely, gorgeous designer and got great experience. But again, something in me was saying, I don't think this is right for me.
Yeah.
So what happened after that then, when we came back to Ireland, I met my husband in Australia. So we came back, he's from Galway. I know, crazy to go to Australia to meet an Irishman. So then we came back to Ireland, and I think because I'd had that experience when we were away that it didn't feel right, I kind of got a bit lost for a while. As I didn't know what was I going to work in. There was really no fashion industry in Ireland, even if I wanted to go back into that, you know, other than doing being self-employed. And at that time in my early 20s, I probably didn't have the confidence to be self-employed. So I worked for about 10 years in retail.
Wow.
Feeling very like just plodding along, but feeling very much like there was so much more inside that I wasn't expressing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really sure during that time where it was that I was supposed to be. I was happy in my personal life, but I definitely wasn't happy in my professional life. So I was painting and drawing all the time during that time, personally for myself, you know. Wasn't really sure why, just being creative to be creative, and doing classes with other artists in the area. And I started kind of selling some work then, you know, was having, my family was in you know, having babies and doing all that stuff at the same time. So then when both of my kids were small, a few pieces of work started to sell, and I got such a kick out of selling the paintings. I was like, oh my God, somebody else loves this as much as I love it. And I think that was really the aha moment of, I love this. I want this to be my work as well as my passion, you know, and I could really see myself. I just started to be able to see my future of, this is something that I can work in for the rest of my life and know that it'll make me a really happy person. But obviously the uncertainty was there about income, and I want to earn a living. You know, it's not, I don't want to be a struggling artist.
Yeah.
You know, I want to actually be able to earn a nice living from my art.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a journey of maybe like 5 or 6 years of just creating a lot of work, creating a lot of shit work, I'd say, at times, and a lot of nice work as well. But just really discovering what my voice is in paint, and what people will buy, because, you know, you want to know that what you make is something that people want at the same time. So that's where I'm at the minute. It's going quite well. The last year has been really good. You know, I do have repeat customers and people coming back to me now, and I've just launched a limited edition print range. So that's given me, you know, another side of the business that's maybe more commercial. which feels nice, you know, for sales to happen without having to put so much of yourself into every piece.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at the minute. I mean, I do have notions, Boyana, about like I still have a yearn for ceramics, and you know, there's times where I think I'm going back to college, I'm going to do a master's, I'm going to go and do ceramics, I'm going to go do this, and maybe I will, you know. Because I can kind of picture how my artwork could be transferable to products as well. You know, surface design for ceramic ware would be something I'd love to explore at some stage. So that's where I'm at the minute, you know, and long may it last, hopefully.
Yes, it's so interesting to hear your journey, and like that it wasn't, you know, plain sailing from the start, or it wasn't a clear path, or it wasn't a path very common for society as such, so that, okay, you know, this is, you go to college, you do this, and then you're solving for life, or whatever the case is. So it's really interesting to hear that experience you had, and I'm curious to know, like you said, even now kind of going, oh, maybe I'll do ceramics, or maybe I'll do this, and how you described kind of listening to that instinct and going, no, that doesn't feel right, it isn't, or there is more to it, or, and going along with that. Was it, I think when we listen to the instinct once or twice and we confirm that message that the instinct was right, it kind of gives that self-confidence that we can go again, we can listen again, and that. But I'm also curious whether was that your strongest voice, or was there a mentor, or what was the kind of was there one moment of, say, one sale that really kind of then confirmed that message for you, or was it a teacher or mentor or your husband or family that kind of gave you that support and that confirmed that message for you to go ahead with this path?
I think, you know, my husband is really supportive, and he is like, he definitely, you know, has this thing where like, just go for it, you know, with anything. He's a very open kind of minded person. Just go for it, give it a lash, see how it goes, you know, which is a lovely, really refreshing attitude, because I would be, I suppose, more cautious in a way at times and overthink, you know, I would overanalyze and overthink. Whereas he's more of a fly by the seat of his pants, just Becca, just go for it, give it a try, you know. So having that behind you definitely helps, you know. That's but for me, I suppose my gut feeling was always so strong. But it was painful at the same time, because I would quite often, like, I packed in jobs that, you know, were, you know, good jobs and would have had a future. And a lot of people were like, you know, I did get a lot of, what are you doing? Like, you know, that, Jesus, that's safe money. That's a career, that's a salary, that's, you know, so I would get annoyed with myself at times, and I'd be like, why can't I just do the job? But I couldn't. You know, and even, I mean, I remember in school, I was quite unhappy in school, because I think now, you know, rigid hours of education doesn't suit my personality. Sitting at a desk and being told to perform doesn't suit my personality. So like, and I remember thinking at school and looking around and looking at everybody else and thinking, how they look so content, and I was just bursting to get out the door and go and run around. And so there was always there was the heart thing saying, do what you love, Tory, do it because it's the right thing to do. And then there was the head saying, oh my God, cop on, like, be sensible, do the sensible thing, get a proper job, you know. So it was a real there was real conflict within myself. And I think that's why it took so long. Like, it took me so long to get to where I am, because I was given, I was given air and space to both the head and the heart, whereas the heart was the strongest, you know what I mean, and won in the end. So yeah, I think that's it. Having the family support was a massive thing. But also just my own pull to do something that felt meaningful and you know, I've always had a thing where like, this isn't a dress rehearsal. You know, you hear that this isn't a practice run. This is the only life we have. And I was like, I can't sit at a desk and do something that is going to make me an extremely unhappy person when this is the only chance that we get, you know. So that was the huge motivating factor as well.
That's really interesting, and I think a lot of people will identify with that, you know, pull from the heart and from the head.
Yeah.
And I feel like you said that if it doesn't feel right, and you know, but at the same time, it's logical. It's, you know, the practical, and that's okay. I think we all go through periods of where we stick with the safe and the logical, and that's perfectly okay. It's a very individual choice. And a lot of people would say that if you work in your hobby, then you might not necessarily like that hobby anymore, such because you like the job. So it's a very individual choice, but it's really interesting to hear that. And also, I think for people listening that might be younger and are going through that, or what would you say to yourself, to younger self, that she was struggling or that she was in school and not knowing?
It's funny. I think I sometimes question why, you know, why when I knew in my, say at the start of the second year of 4 years of doing a degree, you know, if I knew in myself I wasn't happy, why didn't I like listen to that more at that time? But I think that there's two things there. Like in your early 20s, I think we make decisions about our life far too young. You know, this education system that we have where you fill out your CAO forms and you go to university, and it works for some people, but I think for an awful lot of people it doesn't. You haven't experienced enough of the world to know what it is going to make you happy. So yeah, I think I'd say to my younger self, be braver to stop doing something that doesn't feel right at the time, because maybe there was an opportunity for me there at a younger age to listen more and to have discovered my path earlier.
You
know, it's okay to drop out of college. I think I would have seen that as being a huge shame. Whereas, you know, it's okay to sidestep. It's okay to go from, if you're here, to say, okay, well, you know, there's certain things about this that I like, but there's certain things that I don't like. So maybe if I could have moved to a different discipline in art college, or I could have taken a year out, you know, to work out what was going on in my head. But I was like, I've chosen this now, I have to do this, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think the system, we live in a society with, you know, large number of people, so the system is very generic to fit that bigger, you know, amount of people. So it's hard to step away from it, or to because we have a huge need to be part of it, to fit in. So to not fit in with that system, you feel you're an outcast or oddball, or, you know, whatever the case is. Or it's a tough one to negotiate. But I think there's a huge message for all of us to say that if it doesn't feel right in that system, that's okay, because the system is designed for a very generic, like all statistics, 99%. Yeah, but that's out of millions. So if you're that 1%, but in a bigger scale, then it means there's a lot of people. So it's nice to find, like, our group that we've created in the last few months, to like-minded people that maybe outside of it you might feel a bit weird, but we found, you know, a few people that
and it is, I really do feel like we found such a unique thing in the group that we've got to know through Tara's course, and I just love it. I just think it's a brilliant thing, but I think the system what you were saying about it being, you know, for certain people, it's still so, for me, it's still so like there for academics,
Yeah.
you know, and if you're, I know if you're creative, and a lot of creative people can be academic as well, but you know, creative people tend to work in very different ways.
Yeah.
And there's certain times that they work better, and you know, they don't fit into the structure. And I think I would love to see for my kids some change in that. Maybe the pandemic is going to change things a bit, because there's more freedom with people working from home, and you know, working more flexible hours and stuff like that. And I think that can suit a lot of people, you know. But I think some change in that area would be a really good thing.
Yeah, I agree. And my mom said to me a few times how, like, when you see a good book or a movie or, you know, like that, some amazing piece of art, she's like, they didn't create that 9 to 5. They created in the middle of the night, you know, long nights.
That's so true. Yeah.
Like these things don't happen in a you know, in a structured, like you said, in your job, in a structured hours. Create now.
If somebody says that to you, you immediately can't do it. You just go, I don't know what to do right now. I have no clue.
Yeah.
You know, so like I was painting late last night at, you know, 11 o'clock or whatever, out in the studio. And I was laughing because I was just looking at the mess of the floor and all the inks and the paints everywhere. And I was thinking, do you know, late night painting, late night messing is the best. Because you just walk away. You just walk away from it. And I just come into the house and leave it all behind. And then in the morning, you're busting to get out to see what you did. You can nearly not even, what was I was in completely zone of my own.
Well, that's a really nice insight to your space or to your way of working, because like that, you know, sometimes even on a movie or in a report, like, oh, the artist is working, and it's like so idyllic or whatever, but
controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not the way it works. Not for me anyway.
Brilliant. And if I could bring you in a question about like that, when challenges, when you had a plan and it didn't go as you intended, or you it went differently, what kind of tools or what techniques that you might use when you come across these things, or even whether it's the last year or before, to share if you feel comfortable?
Yeah. Do you mean it when say if I'm painting and things aren't coming together?
Yeah,
If I'm just going through a period of
everyday challenges that you feel
other
other people almost be dealing with them really well.
Yeah, I think I would always have been the type of person, and this would be like what it was in university. I push through, force, push on, you know, force, you know, forge ahead. But I think I'm learning that if things aren't working out or if things aren't going to plan, you know, I'm trying to be, or I'm starting to practice trying to be more compassionate to that, and saying, well, you know, this is happening for a reason. Maybe I need a break. You know, maybe in this space when things aren't working or going to plan, this is going to, you know, give me the rest time that I'll go back to things more rejuvenated. And even like, you know, when you're a parent or a mom, and you know the weather's rubbish outside, and you're like, oh God, I'd just love to get the kids outside. And then you go and it's, you know, raining, and you're like, oh, what will we do? And then sometimes just to get under a blanket and put a movie on and go, these are the days that are the gift of sitting on your ass. And tomorrow when the sun comes out, we'll go out and we'll be active then, you know. So try, you know, being more fluid and responding to the day in a way that's not frustration or beating yourself up. No, it still happens, but it's more of a conscious, I'm more consciously look at it as trying to look at things as an opportunity, as opposed to being held back in some way.
That's wonderful. It's definitely that awareness
Yeah.
instead of that voice. And I agree, because today I was writing about meditation. It's like, I can't sit still, and
Yeah.
but yet we're told, meditation is good for you sitting still, but then we're told you should be performing, you should be doing this,
Oh,
you should be
yeah.
doing that. So where do we meet?
Yeah.
About this? So
Yeah.
what do you mean sit in a blanket and do nothing? And
I know. But it's amazing. Like, though, at times when I do get under a blanket with the kids, and they'll be like, "Oh, mom, this is the best afternoon ever." And then other days you're like planning to go swimming, and you're going to have friends, and you're meeting it, and you're rushing home to make dinner, and they're like, they don't thank you for it because they know you're stressed.
I agree 100%. And it's
Yeah.
so odd for them when they see me sitting down. They're like, take a two, double
Yeah.
look, going, "Oh my God, you're
Yeah.
sitting down with us?"
Yeah. I also I have a group in the village, or I'm part of a group in our village. It's called Stitch and Bitch, and we meet once a week, and we knit or crochet or over coffee. It's so good. So I would knit, like, and crochet when I'm sitting down. Like, my hands are usually, if I'm sitting, I'm usually still making something. But it's lovely. Like, I do granny, I just crochet granny squares, or I make pom-pom garlands because they're
Wow.
so easy to make. And yeah, so even when I'm sitting with the kids, I'm usually doing crochet or knitting or doing something like that. But it's such a lovely, relaxing thing to do. It's kind of, it's creating something without your brain needing to be engaged at all.
Yeah.
I don't follow patterns or make anything to a pattern. It's just literally same stitch over and over and over and over again.
And you have to kind of
Um,
look to see what is it actually,
yeah, every now and again I go, what am I doing with this again? So last year I just knitted loads of colorful squares, and then sewed them together and made kind of a top, kimono kind of top thing.
Wow.
Um, which was a no-brainer because it was just squares sewn together.
Amazing.
But things like that I would really encourage people to sew or knit or crochet. It is so fun, and it's color for me. The joy is picking the colors of the wool, and matching colors together, and just making colorful things for the house or for the kids' bedrooms. So I love that as well.
That's brilliant. Lovely. And how about joys in life? How do you celebrate everyday kind of, moment, or a bigger occasions of whether you had a milestone or a plan and you've achieved it? Do you tend to stop and acknowledge it? Do you go for the next one and you go? Oh, sure, that's done. Tick, and next.
Yeah.
How do you find those moments or your ways of celebrating?
Yeah, we definitely try. Like, my husband is in a kind of a startup business situation as well. So, he's going through big learning curves, and there are wins, and then there are days that are hard. And so together, like, we do try, and if something happens, it's a really, it's okay, we're on to the next step. um we love just having a dinner, I suppose, with the kids, and saying, oh, we're celebrating this tonight. Or when we can, we go, going for dinner. We love to go out for something to eat. And Barry and I enjoy a nice glass of red wine. So sitting down in the evening, just the two of us after the kids have gone to bed, and having a nice bottle of wine together. Yeah, so it's family. I think family time and slowing down is generally the way we would kind of mark things.
Amazing.
I mean, we do love going. I was telling you, we were away for a night. We love getting away. We go out. We have a dog who is mental, so walking a dog, going to the beach a lot is a part of our life. A lot, because we have a dog that we need to exercise. So yeah, family weekends and family time is a big thing for us as well.
Great. It's
Yeah.
so important to pause and slow down and take the time to see what that day or that week or your effort that you put in,
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
came to realization. That's
Yeah. Yeah. Being good to ourselves is I think it's something we're not great at as a nation. I don't think that we're very good at just saying, do you know what, we've worked really hard.
Yeah.
You know, we really deserve to take ourselves away, or so we do try and treat ourselves and just say, yeah, we're going to do that thing because we've been putting so many hours in, and we're going to go away, or we're going to go for dinner, or and those things they feel so good, like they fill you back up again, don't they?
Fantastic. I agree.
Yeah.
Rather than waiting for when this happens in 5 years, or
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really the journey is, as hard as it is, and as much as we put effort towards the end goal, it's
Yeah.
great to celebrate the small days in the journey too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Tori, I'm really enjoying the conversation. I can't believe it goes so fast.
I know. Oh, it's been great. Sorry, I hope I haven't been chat, going off in a million different directions.
Not at all. I think I enjoyed the conversation, and I learned a lot about you, and I relate to a lot of what you say.
Yeah.
I think listeners will enjoy that too. So if you want to add anything at the end, how people can find you, your work, your
Yeah. My website is it's toryirvineart.com, and my prints are on there as well as originals. I also do commissions, so people can contact me through the website, for I love making work for specific spaces, and getting to know people a bit more and making work, specifically for clients. And Instagram, I'm would put a lot of my work on Instagram, and I've connected with so many nice people through Instagram. So I know social media can be a pain in the butt, but it's actually been a really good thing in a lot of ways. Yeah, so that's how you'd contact me.
Brilliant. I'll include those in the notes so people
Thanks,
can
Brianna.
see them.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thanks so much. It was lovely to chat.
yeah, I'm looking forward to we catch up again soon. And until next time, all the best,
Take
Tori.
care. Thanks a million.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Bye bye.
Bye.